Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Blue Collar Psychiatrist videos. Today we're going to talk about 3 for 1. I'm going to explain that as we go. There are 3 stories that I'm going to tell you. You know, not always is knowledge and advice given from trusted officials and doctors and professors and friends. Sometimes it comes from unexpected sources. And I have 3 stories to tell you, 3 brief stories where this is illustrated. The first one comes from a period in the 1970s. I was working out with weights in a gym. I befriended a man there in his 50s. His name was Harry. And we got to know each other somewhat. And I do not remember the conversation exactly as it went. However, he said to me something that I'll never forget. He said, "Don't do anything that is going to bring harm to you." And of course, that seems like common sense, doesn't it? But on the other hand, how many people do we know who do things that hurt themselves over and over and over again, not even realizing it? So remember, he said to me, don't ever do anything that's going to hurt yourself. Now, how does that affect me and you? It's because when you have to make a decision about something, you have to look at all the parameters involved. You have to look at every factor as much as you can and then make your decision based on that information. I'll never forget him because he was not only became a great friend, but also he was a great guy. He was an airline pilot and he served in the service. Very, very, very articulate man with very, very tough moral fiber. And that is something that I will never forget as long as I will live, nor should you. Don't ever do anything to hurt yourself. The second story is about a man, an unusual man, who had been a weightlifter in his earlier years. He was about 4 feet 10 inches tall, very hirsute, dark hair, and he owned a gym. By the time I met him, years after he had been a championship weightlifter, he opened a gym. But back then there was no LA Fitness, there were no large nationwide gyms like there are now. People had private gyms in their house or some small storefront. He had one on the 2nd floor of his house. And I went over there one day to purchase some equipment. While I was there, talking to him on the 1st floor, I heard, boom! I said, what is that? What is it? He said, ah! And that's the way he talked, real gravelly. Hey, it's those people I told you, they're always dropping those weights. And so what he did, he yelled back, damn it! If you can't put it down, don't pick it up! Translation, if you can't put it down, don't pick it up. Now that has ramifications in everyday life. It could mean you are going into business with a very savvy man of questionable integrity, maybe a charlatan even, and you decide you're going to go into business with him. Well, you're over your head, so to speak. And this guy has been through many, many lawsuits and so forth, and maybe it's not the right thing to do. You're totally over your head. Back then, right then, when he says, if you can't put it down, don't pick it up. Can you handle this situation with this guy? Is this a smart thing to do? I don't think so. So here is the importance of, if you can't put it down, don't pick it up. Don't get into something that's over your head. Could be a very difficult project that you have no idea how to complete. You've got to get help. So there is story number 2. Don't get into anything over your head. If you can't put it down, don't pick it up. And the third and the final one, which was only a few years ago, took place in the lobby of an office building where I was working. And I became friendly with the security officer there. And he said, "You see that parking lot out there where you parked your car?" I said, "Yeah, I've been parking there for a number of years." He said, "Well, it's not going to be there very much longer." I said, "Why?" What? He says, "They're building a high-rise luxury condominium on that ground. That parking lot will be gone in about a month." Sure enough, it was. I had to park in an indoor garage, not nearly as close to the building as before, but I had no choice. And then we got into a philosophical talk, and he said, "You know, Larry, people say that there are two things that are for sure, that are certainty in life: death and taxes." We've all heard that. But he said to me, "Yes, it's death and taxes, but there's a third one that nobody talks about." He says it's death, taxes, and change. He said everything changes in life. Nothing stays the same. Nothing. And he is right. Nothing stays the same. Buildings are torn down. Automobile styles change. People's houses are renovated. It's just constant change that is going on in life. And you have to be able to adapt. And that's the key word. That's what I want to leave you with. You must learn to adapt to changing circumstances of life. Because many of these changes you have no control over. So you have to be able to adapt. And you have to think, okay, like with me with the parking spot. Now that's an easy one, because I figured, well, if I can't park in that lot anymore because a condo building is being built, I'm going to have to park in one of the indoor parking lots, parking garages, which I don't really like. And then I had to figure out which would be the best one, the closest one, the least expensive one, and figure out all these things. That is adapting to the situation. Also, the meters on the street were too expensive, and you had to keep on running down every hour to put more money into the meter. So that wouldn't work either. So he was right again. So this is what I'm trying to say. 3 average people who just accidentally, in the course of conversation, by talking to people, and that's one of the advantages, by the way, of talking to people, came up with these 3 items that I have mentioned to you today. Never do anything to hurt yourself. If you can't put it down, don't pick it up. And death, taxes, and change, and you must adapt to change. Ladies and gentlemen, I remind you, drink! And drink abundantly from the fountain of life. See you next time!